All right, we're live. Welcome,
Cool,
everybody,
cool.
to our fourth Dat Cold Community Stand-Up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Welcome everybody. I'm Jermaine, uh, coder extraordinaire. I'm not. I'm. let me not do that.
Calm down, calm down.
uh, yeah. Just going through introductions. Yeah, I'm a software developer right now. Getting more into web technologies. Want to transition into web development here soon. I'm also a photographer and graphic designer on the side. And yeah, welcome to our community stand-up. I'm gonna let everyone else introduce themselves. Start with Ann.
Oh, cool. My name is Ann Daramola. I am the founder of thesiteclinic.com, on-demand site support, security, and maintenance. And it's a startup coding things 24/7. I also founded Afrolicious.com. I don't write there as often because we're working on this race to the beta this month, but you will find me there soon. And also, I like tacos. Yes. Mark or Dee Dee, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
uh,
Introductions, Mark. Is Mark there? Hello?
yeah, can you guys hear us?
Yeah, I'm back. You guys hear me?
Oh, okay, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting some
Edie, can
headphones.
you hear us?
Yeah, I feared that conference call thing where people talk at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It's all you.
Yeah. Um,
What's gonna happen?
so either one of y'all can go. Introduce yourself.
Uh, I'm Dee Dee. I'm a software engineer at Cisco. Was We were acquired last year. Mostly working on like the stuff under the cloud. Not really sure how the best way to explain it. Make clouds, cloud seeding, cloudy. Buzzword here.
That's what's up. Mark, you wanna go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Oh wait, there's your cam. Awesome.
Yeah,
Woo!
I remember. Mark, I'm from Baltimore. I'm from the Baltimore area. I'm a software engineer. Just about it.
Cool. How's everyone's weekend going?
Things are cool. Went to Philly yesterday with some fam. See the fam for the day. Hang out with a little cousin. We went to Sky Zone, watched them flip around on some trampolines.
That's what's up. How's your weekend, Ann?
It's pretty good. I did not code much as much as I want to, but that's okay. That is okay because I am finished with the third season of Star Trek, the Next Generation. So
Nice.
we did make some progress there.
Did you travel? You said you were traveling up and down the West Coast last week. But this week?
Before I can travel, I need to have a car that has proper brakes. So waiting for the car to get fixed. Once that happens, then I'll be traveling. um, yeah, but if it's not this week, if it's not this week, then I probably will miss next week's community stand-up because I'm on the road. But pretty soon, be out
That's
of
cool.
here.
You're just gonna drive.
Yeah, Los Angeles to Santa Cruz, if you are a speed racer, which one of us may be, is 5 hours. But I'm going to take the coast. So I'm going to take the 101 all the way up, and that's going to be, if you're a speed racer, 7 hours. And then I'm going to be in Santa Cruz for as long as it takes for me to finish something there. And then I'm going to travel to Seattle to see my baby sister. And then I don't know where I'm going to be after Seattle. So I might be in Atlanta. I might be in Nairobi. I might be back in Los Angeles. So we'll see.
Cool. Um, so my weekend has been pretty chill. I got a lot done today. I'm proud of myself. I got a lot of work done. I just made my lunch for the week. I never do that.
What's
So
for lunch?
chicken wrap with spinach, pepper jack, chipotle ranch dressing, and a drizzle of sriracha because I like my stuff hot. So and yeah, apple and peanut butter as the side dish, and a gang of water. I've been drinking a lot of water too, man. It's crazy.
That's
So yeah,
good.
very productive day. How's your weekend been, Didi?
Um, I've been keeping it fairly low key because I haven't been feeling that well. But I was able to participate in the championships for the home roller derby team last night. Two pretty competitive, close games. And despite not feeling well, I survived. So
Awesome.
I'll take that as a win for the weekend.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. How long have you been roller derbying?
I'm coming to the end of my ninth year.
Wow.
The first couple of years, I was a skater and an official, and I segued into just being a non-skating official. So like, you'll see me out there blowing whistles at people and keeping time on the score, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, and I've been a big time volunteer with the international governing body, Women's Flat Track Derby Association, for like 8.5 years now.
Okay. Cool. Well, glad you guys' weekend is good. I guess we can just hop into, our weekly things. So every week we talk about like four things. What we worked on last week, what we're working on in the next week, what we might need help on. If we're working on something we need some help, what we might need help on, and one resource that you can share. It could be something you shared in the Slack group, or something you found over the weekend. But and we also have a wildcard question, and we'll get to that once we go through everyone. So I guess I'll start. Um, so what I've been working on the past couple weeks, and a lot of the work I did today was doing my personal site redesign. Um, Very happy with how it's turning out. Actually, I think I might show a little bit. Um, yeah, let me pull that up right quick and show a little bit.
Yeah, let's see.
Uh, all right, I'm gonna share this screen. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the site right here. I think. Hang on, let me do one more thing. Gonna open a new one. Okay, so this is what you'll see when you first get to the website, and then right here I have links to the different pages. I'm actually using AngularJS to. I'm using I guess uh, the routing mechanism. So whenever I click on something, I don't have to load the page. So I just click here and scroll down, and here's my resume with my handsome picture. And then same thing for these. So I did these two pages today. Here's my photographer page with grid layout with my photos and email at the bottom for contact. And it's also responsive. So go here, and this is how I look on the iPhone. Same thing, and then I have the grid responsive, so it's it's less photos across. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on for the past week. I guess I'm about 60% of the way through. I still got to do this page and make it juicy. So I'm gonna add some nice little animations and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. Um, Pretty proud of it. And the next, yeah,
Looks
so the
great.
next week I'm gonna say again.
It looks great.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, the next week I'm gonna finish that up and uh, push it up to GitHub. I'm hosting it on GitHub, and then it'll be ready to go. Um, and then I guess after that, yeah, I'll just be looking for the next project. Nothing I need help on really. Um, I guess we can talk about go back to what we were talking about with the DAT code site. We wanted to do something special for newbies. I guess we'll talk about that later. Um, that's you know still looking for things to do for the DAT code site. So you know any suggestions anyone has, any people that are watching have, let us know. Um, but yeah, that's it. And a resource. So I found this while I was looking for inspiration for my redesign. It's a website called onepagelove.com. It's basically just a gallery of one-page site designs. It's pretty cool, and it has tags so you can search for I guess a particular technology that they use to build it or stuff like that. I particularly used it to see which designs use Angular and AngularJS, and then they also have categories. So if you're looking for inspo for a portfolio or like a resume or stuff like that. It's a pretty cool site though. Onepagelove.com is the name of the site. But yeah, uh, that's it. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
This week I worked on some stuff actually for the DAT Code website. So we added a sign up form to the bottom of the site. So it asks you questions like, what's your name? Who's your grandma? Where does she live? All these questions. Just basically so that we can get to know more about the people who are signing up to join the Slack. And that was cool. Then I worked, actually, this week I stepped back from the hardcore coding that I've been doing throughout the summer, at least throughout this month. There's a race of the beta for the site clinic. So we have a beta coming up. I'm looking at my calendar here. Wednesday, we're supposed to be launching something. Who knows what it will be? Who knows if it will work? But it should work. I'm just kidding. And then also worked on trying to understand Laravel a little better, because I just kept running into these problems that seemed to be taking up so much time, and so I needed to figure out the philosophy behind Laravel, and so I spent 2 days really digging into what Laravel was and what it was doing and why it was breaking in the way it was breaking for me. So, and then I discovered a resource. I'm going to jump ahead. Laravel has a smaller, so Laravel is just like a PHP framework, similar to Ruby on Rails. And I know like people are like, Ruby's better than PHP, and there's this whole thing about PHP developers. Whatever, I don't care. PHP works for me. I use it. It does what I need to do, and then I get paid. So I'm going to stick to PHP until I get paid enough money to take time off to learn something else. So they have a smaller framework called Lumen. So just go to Laravel.com and they'll have a drop down for Lumen, which is a smaller framework, and it's good for building APIs. And so I looked into that a little bit. It's a really good. It's based on the Laravel philosophies and the Laravel principles and same code base almost. So if you're looking to build something lighter and you don't need a whole kind of Mack truck of features, Lumen is a great resource as well. And so I guess this week I'm going to need help testing the code and fixing the bugs that I found that we just didn't fix. Honestly, let me be real. We're like, that doesn't work. Next. So we're going to go back and try to figure out how to fix some things. And I think we're going to end up not using or not launching with a couple of major features. And that'll be what it is. And then, but whatever we can get to work by Tuesday is probably what we're going to ship on Wednesday. So I guess, yeah, I'll need help testing. Then what else? Oh, I talked about what I'm working on this week, what I worked on last week, what I need help with in my resource. Yeah. Oh, and we'll come to the wildcard question later, right? Yeah, we'll come to that later. Next. Mark or Didi?
I could go.
Go ahead.
So I have sort of a project I built out for myself that I have been working on in spare cycles. I bought a NAS and loaded it up with drives, and I'm trying to digitize all of the things. And so that's sort of what's been occupying my free time, a little bit of that I have between actual work and then roller derby work. I just got through all of my CDs sometime at the beginning of this week and started on the movies. And it's like a leap in complexity there, but the results are is moving along, and I'm learning a lot about just setting up disks and storage and stuff, and like a bunch of stuff that I'd sort of ignored about Linux, and like since the last time I really had to mess around with disks. So it's a good exercise on a small scale, I guess. It's funny because I also had like a disk problem at work. When you're having to set up the customers' clouds, they're very opinionated about how they want their storage to be set up. So like there's probably 8 different ways that you wind up having to support because they want their use case, just like their particular hardware or disk array to set up in such a way. So I just realized just right now that like that was sort of repeating in my own personal life. Anyway, uh, luckily I get to move on to like hopefully a slightly different project over the next week. Getting back to the basic problem for setting up the clouds from nothing, how to discover the hardware you want to turn on, switch it on, load it up with the operating system that it needs, and then all of the setup involved from there. That first step, the actually discovering and turning on the machines. There's a project from Google. Crap, I'm forgetting the name already. It's like Pixie Core, I think. But anyway, it's probably getting a little too out into the weeds in that particular direction. But I'm looking forward to a new project. Right now I've been mostly in really technical, dry, like set this machine up in this way and test it in this way type mode. So might actually get to write some code again, which would be nice. What was the other questions like we did last week?
Yeah. So anything you might need help on in your projects, and if not, also,
Oh, and a resource.
re- yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't have like a serious resource for this particular week, but there are two things that kind of got me jazzed. One was discovering an extension for Safari that lets you reopen closed tabs, and not just the very last tab, but like several tabs ago, which is like a basic feature of Chrome that I can't live without. So for those times when I'm actually in Safari, I can now open not just that last tab, but the last tab or the last tab, which is important. And, and then this is sort of I don't know. I try not to get too jazzed about like online web apps, but like Trello just opened up their power-ups for every free account can use one per board, and that just made my life so much easier. Being able to go to the boards and say, yes, please link this to your GitHub thing, so that all of the tickets and the pull requests just sort of line up and it's like bang, bang, bang. Um, and like, yeah, it as it's because technically in my free time I'm like a volunteer CTO type person to the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, so I have to manage like upwards of 30 plus people, and like I'm always like shaking them down, like update your Trello card so I know what you're doing, and being able to link it directly to GitHub, that like will fix a couple of steps there at least. So I got a little hype about that.
What was the name of the Chrome tool that you found for the tabs?
It was for Safari and it was called Retab. I think I posted a link in random. Let me see if I can find it again. I'll post it here.
Cool. I guess while she's looking for that, Mark, you wanna go ahead?
There you go.
Yeah, we're good. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
My bad, my
All
mic
right.
was muted. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So the past week I did a few things. I worked on this project I'm working on. I have this library to communicate with Graph Database. Like I'm kind of converting, updating the code. Made some core changes. So I got to change the lowest level of it. I'm almost there. I'm getting there, but I'm working on that. Also, had a meeting with the neighborhood improvement committee for a neighborhood in Baltimore called Reservoir Hill. Um, I'm on to help them do some design work. They want to rebrand. They want to just come up with something more modern. So I sat down with them for a couple hours on Thursday and took a lot of notes. A lot of notes. Waded through a lot of their drama, which is funny because you don't think a neighborhood committee would have drama, but they do for some reason. Um, it's not bad drama though. It's I'm not not to say anything negative. It's a lot of people are coming to the neighborhood and trying to gentrify and trying to come into the neighborhood committee and dictate that they want the neighborhood to look more like the people who are gentrifying, and that's the issue with them. So it's part of their drama. And but neither here nor there. But I just wanted to clear it up. This week I'm going to be working on pretty much the same stuff. Definitely have to get something out for them. I'm working with another designer. He helped out, but he wasn't at the Thursday meeting. So I have to write notes and ideas and all that. Get to go over to him, start communication with him. Get those guys out something this week, some sketches, some rough drafts, something so they can see something. They're pretty pumped. They're pretty excited. I'm excited to continue working on my framework translation. I'm excited about that. That's coming along well. I'm writing unit tests first, doing some TDD, so everything's a little bit clearer, a little bit easier in the long run. So I'm doing that. And there's work. Also, I'm helping a friend out. I've been helping a friend out for a long time with his project. It's called Song Splits. It's all about the ownership for people who write music. So he has an app to handle that and help him out with the API and some app work, stuff like that. So I did some of that last week as well. Like, you might hit me up this week and do some of that too. What else? That's it. Resource. I posted a link, and I don't know which general. I'm looking at now. I posted a link in general, and it was all about machine learning. And it was a visual representation of it, just a pretty simple web page. You scroll down, and as you scroll down, there's a little thing on the right or left, a little SVG graph that shows you, explains what's happening. It shows you how these little squares are filtered out, and it talks about the rules and the ideas behind machine learning. And I think that's pretty cool. I think machine learning is probably the next big step, or just the next step. And I said this before in the room, probably just something I'm going to pick up and learn. Probably start the deep data stuff, and then move up to a little bit higher machine learning. I don't think I'll get into AI, but if it happens, it happens. But I'm pretty excited about that. You guys should check that link out. It's pretty. I got that notification. It's pretty cool. I'll post it here as well, so you guys can check it out. But that's it. And I don't think I need any help with anything. Maybe I'll show the room my designs, and you guys can give me some feedback on that. I'm gonna sketch some stuff up next couple of days, and just do some napkin drawings, and I'll take some pictures on my camera. That's it.
Awesome. All right. Let's get to this wildcard question. This is an interesting question. If you had $5 million, what would you do with your time? Not money. What would you do with your time?
This was actually a question I was asked in a second or third round interview. So, yeah, I'm interested in other people's answers.
Let's see. What would I do? I don't know. Travel the world. Do all of the traveling. Travel to all the places and take a buttload of pictures. Just be on my real eccentric artist shit, and just this photography, and then whatever I feel like doing at the moment, because I feel like I always try and cut out a little time a week for me to do some photography or do something more art related. So yeah, I would just do that.
Where would you travel first, or where's the first place you go?
Off the top of my head, Japan and Japan and maybe Spain or Italy, one of those. Just off the top of my head, yeah.
Anybody else?
Go ahead, DB.
I was thinking about traveling as well, but I wanted put maybe a twist on it and make it more like a Make-A-Wish for because traveling by yourself it's cool and all, but it's more fun to travel with people you know. So I'd like to figure out where my friends want to go, have always wanted to go, and then be able to make that happen, and we can go together. And if you can get a concert in, because I'm really into music. There are still some artists that I haven't seen yet, and if they're still performing someplace, it'd be nice to be able to just go there and get the really great seats.
Which artists have you not seen? What does that list look like?
It's getting smaller though. The list that I had when I was in high school, I thought I would never actually get to see Portishead, but then that happened just a couple of years ago when they came to Chicago.
No way!
But they were in Chicago, and I was there. It happened. So I finally got to cross them off. Massive Attack is probably one I wanted. I don't know if they still really do tours though. But like, yeah, I really got into the trip hop sound, so we'd like to go through that batch of music a bit, chill out.
Nice. And wait, like, okay, so in terms of concerts, what's one of the best concerts you've been to?
For just sort of like over the top effects, if you could ever go to a Muse show, they put on a really great like stage show. Their most recent one, Drones, they actually had these like little bubble drones flying above the crowd while they were on a circular stage in the round that was turning around the whole time.
Okay.
This is them trying to one up when they had this like pyramids of video screens going up and down like the stage into like a pyramid going this way and then inverted and then it turns into a giant face and yeah, they're
Who was
pretty
this?
good.
Muse?
Muse, yeah, they're like space rock.
That's actually a pretty spot on description of Muse, like space rock.
Space rock. I like them. What about you, Mark?
$5 million. I'll probably be real Philippine. I'm gonna say philanthropy, I guess. One of the things I want to do is share my skills. Is just give it to some kids. I think kids will definitely benefit the most from learning how to code, learning how to develop, learning how to write software. I think I would use that. I use part of that money if it was just $5 million just given to me. Just use part of that money to try to help fund some of these initiatives. Get some, I don't know, some basements and some rooms with some computer somewhere, and I stand in front of it and help these kids learn how to control these machines. It's controlling their lives, because kids love these phones and computers and all that. But that's where I'll start. And of course, I'll do some fun stuff to travel, see the world. I haven't really been out the country. Haven't been to across the Atlantic or anything like that. So definitely start doing that stuff. I think that's it. I think I really just want to do the initiative to do something with the kids, just give back some way, somehow.
Nice. Wait, where would you travel? Oh, I forgot to ask you that question too, Dee. Where would you travel first?
First, uh, I don't know. I would let my son choose, and if I were to let him choose, he'd probably say something like Japan or something like that. China. He's really into Civilization. That's his favorite, or one of his favorite games. So he's always giving us backstory on something he's seen in Civilization. I guess it may happen to be true because I don't really know, but he loves that type of stuff. So I let him choose.
Nice. If I had $5 million, I would learn and teach. So I really like to teach. Yeah, so I would just learn a new skill and then teach people how to teach it and then pay them to teach it and then go and learn a new skill. So, and I just keep, learning and teaching and learning and teaching and learning and teaching. Even though, teaching is a type of learning, but sometimes you need to just master a skill first. So one skill that I would like to master is how to fly a drone, for example. And I would like to learn that and teach people how to build and fly, how to build and fly their own drones. And then another skill that I'd like to learn and teach is, I forget what it's called, but it's whatever the people who know, like, who do who work with fashion and technology. So there's this woman who's really like pushing the edge on like creating fabrics that can conduct electricity essentially. There we go, wearables. Thank you, Didi. So so she's really pushing the edge on making basically materials that conduct so that you can get them to be to hold a signal and to hold code essentially. So I would love to learn that as well and teach people how to make that. And then there's just all sorts of chemical engineering things, like how to make materials that are sustainable, of course, but are also smart. And the last thing that I would like to learn is how to grow a computer from a seed, because I read a book once, and it was a fiction book, of course, but the author built this really beautiful world, this really beautiful world in like West Africa in the future or in the past about people who were growing their computers. And I was just like, what? We can do that. So I'd like to learn that. But first, first things first, building and flying drones. Yeah, so that's that. Any other?
What exactly is growing a computer from a seed?
Right. Okay. So I looked into this because in order for you to be able to grow a computer, you need to be able to conduct. You need to be able to find plants that can conduct electricity, and scientists have already done that. So they need to be able to. You need to essentially be able to build a circuit out of plants and design a plant to grow in a circuit design. So if you can design a plant that grows like a circuit, you can design a number of plants that grow like circuits, and eventually you can grow a CPU. So in the in the story, like people were harvesting essentially whole CPUs that they would then embed in their monitors or their casings or whatever. And it wasn't like central to the story. It was just something that kind of laid the groundwork. You should read the book. It's called Zara the Windseeker by Nnedi Okorafor. And so their society just grows CPUs. So I'd like to grow a CPU or a garden of that. So that's how you would do it, in theory.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
What are you gonna say?
I wanted to tweet the wild card, but you tweeted it already. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you guys being very selfless with your answers, making me feel bad.
But
Let's see.
I'd travel with you.
Okay. What else you guys want to talk about? We got about 15 minutes left.
We should definitely talk about the code school that you've been working on.
Yeah. So, Anne, you said you were working on, I guess, a wireframe or like a mock-up.
Sorry, I missed that. What happened?
No. Yeah, I think you mentioned that you were working on like a little design, I guess a little sketch of the.
Oh, it's on paper. Crap, I didn't digitize it.
No, you don't have to go find it. Yeah, just kind of talk about it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so I get my best ideas when I'm talking shit. Excuse my language, but that's where my best ideas. You said what?
I said I think that's all of us actually. We kind
of. Okay, so where is the incubator? No, it was in the idea bin. Yo, shout out for that GIF, Mark. That was great. Well played. So the idea is we get a lot of people, I personally as well as people coming into Dev Code or people trying to jump into all this buzz around code for like the past 5 years. Steady have been asking me where to start. And, sorry. have been asking me where to start, and I don't know. Like I give them resources, or they'll go to Code Academy and they kind of just get lost. The idea behind this is that we gamify essentially learning how to code in a very basic way that basically encourages them alongside the resources that are already out there. So we're not trying to create these tutorials from scratch, but it would just be kind of a map of where you're starting and where you're going. So you start at basic HTML5 stuff, like what's a tag? What's an element? What are attributes? Why do we have to, what are well-formed HTML documents? And basically build up on those skills until the end of the course they have a semi-dynamic site that, you know, they can switch the theme to a day theme or a night theme by using JavaScript to hook into the CSS and into some of the HTML to change a greeting, or something just really basic that gives them a really easy win and rewards them every level. And it has to be really easy, really easy, but increasingly complex at every level. And instead of us coming up with the tutorials and writing them on our own, because that's a lot of work, and you know, who's got time for that, especially when the internet is there, we would just basically hook into either Code Academy's tutorials, Team Treehouse's tutorials, Tuts Plus, Minvato, and we just say complete these 3 tutorials and create this, and then mark it off. You know, they create an account, of course, and then they'd be able to say, okay, I completed level 1, and I imagine there'd be 6 levels, 2 levels each for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The high key, I really want them to end on JavaScript because, yes, HTML and CSS are pretty important, and you don't need to know JavaScript or any kind of coding really to participate in this to be a designer or even to get a job, but JavaScript really is where a lot of the jobs are. So the sooner we can get people to JavaScript, and the faster, I think the better and more confident people can feel, so that they can have this kind of foundation on them. And another reason for this is so that people have the jargon to be able to talk about what it means to get and to push and to clone things, you know, the jargon that we use in front-end development. And this idea came out because people were in one of the chat rooms on our Slack channel, and they just felt like everything was going over their heads. And I would talk to them in our chat, in the DMs, and they'd be like, yeah, I'm so scared. I don't know what people are talking about. I'm like, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The only stupid question is a question that you haven't asked, is what I like to say. But I just wanted this to be kind of the impetus to get people to be really excited about coding, and to have small wins, and to be able to see it visually and to gamify it really. And I know that this has been done in many ways, but if we can do this on that code and just have people use it as a resource and just put it out there and say we did this, so that we can get people from nervous newbie to a confident newbie in 3 weeks, then that's enough.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome idea, man. I really don't have anything else to say. It's a really dope idea. And I mean, you know, just from the beginning, you know, we wanted to kind of build this platform for people to come and, you know, learn how to code from wherever they are in their coding journey. So, you know, just going forward and making that, you know, experience more rich for them is definitely the way to go. So, yeah, hell yeah, I'm ready to get started on this.
I agree. I think it sounds awesome. I think one of the things, the common thing I see with people joining the room, and I'm actually surprised when people aren't beginners. Because I see a lot of people who join us saying, I'm looking to get started with this. Um, I think this would definitely help them transition into being a little bit more comfortable, like you mentioned, with being a part of the community. And the idea itself is pretty damn solid. Just having the two steps or the two exercises per level, and then I don't know how we gamify it, but gamify it would be important because it gives people a reason to keep going. Maybe if there's an actual kind of that code user persistence outside of the Slack, where you could see sort of the goals, the milestones you reached, and little badges or tags or whatever kind of thing you achieve, and you can compare it with everybody else within the community. I think that will kind of drive things and push engagement, and people will want to actually do these things. Once you get started, you see your friend may have level 2 JavaScript, and you're still at level 1, you still haven't done level 2 HTML, so on and so forth. Right? That may push somebody to kind of get in there and do a little bit more. And I think the idea just around using the resource that's already there and then just putting a layer on top of it to kind of mediate or become some sort of just become the referee there and dole out the points and dole out the badges and all that. I think that's very solid. I think you start with the level 1 stuff like you're talking about, and I think we could definitely go level 2, level 3, level 4, and as you go through, as you progress, it could be something that somebody may want to put on their resume. They say, hey, I finished that code level 6 of their HTML JavaScript tutorial, walkthrough, whatever we're going to call it, but I finished that, and they could be proud of it. They could show it off. So I think it's a very good idea. Definitely part. I definitely want to get started. I definitely want to help out any way I can.
Cool. I'm excited that you guys like it. I thought about like the stack, and I think we should just build it in JavaScript. I think it should be. I mean, we could use another language, but it would be, I don't know. Does everybody? If you don't know JavaScript, this would be a great way to learn it. But I think we shouldn't. I don't want people to like think this has to. We don't have to make it a big thing. It can just be stick drawings for all we care. But just so that we can kind of get a proof of concept by the end of September. That's kind of what I have planned for it. So build it in JavaScript. We can use icons from. There's a couple of free open source icons around the web that we can pull in. And like I said, these resources, these tutorials already exist, so we don't have to write things out from scratch. We just need to organize it in a way that is accessible and design the site that's in a way that is also accessible on multiple platforms, platform agnostic, whatever. And then, just execute.
I'm not entirely. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I'm not entirely sold on the gamifying it part. I think narratives are really important, though. And if you can wrap the right narrative around it, maybe have several different ones that people can find their pathway, that might be as or more effective than putting lots of effort behind creating like a gaming system. With my team at work, when someone new comes on, or at least how we used to do it, was like on the first day, your goal is to get your first commit landed into the code base, and like the most simplest thing we do is you have to get your dev environment set up so that you can edit the documentation that adds your name and like a couple little filler things in, and gets rebuilt and pushed out to the internal wiki. So, like, if we're going to use resources that exist, I think it's really important that we have people that can start from like a known baseline, as regardless of whether you're using Windows, Linux, or Mac. You want like the stuff that you're typing in to like match up, so when someone has a question, they can like come together and talk about it. Because I think that's one of the big issues people find is like they're I could help you, but you're not using my version of my browser of my whatever. So like if we can figure out what some of the narratives are and then set up like an environment where they can like really like set take hold and set off. So like even if it's just as simple as like, hey, use this virtual machine that we like set up with Vagrant or something. Like, here's a little recipe. You run this script. We'll teach you how to run the script. We'll teach you what it means. And all of a sudden, you have this little playground you can work with to hit the other resources or something.
Definitely. I think that's important too when it comes to support, because we have to anticipate that people will have a lot of questions because we want them to have questions, and so we need to be able to answer them as clearly for them to encourage them to move forward and make that, like, build that into the interface as well, a place to ask your question. And I think for like just based on working with clients, customers at the psych clinic, I ask for screenshots. Like, let me see what you're seeing as closely as possible. I think, though, that having people set up their dev environments using virtual machines would be miles ahead of where most people are. So that's why, like, really basic HTML and CSS is where I think we should start, the baseline. And then as we build up on the levels, we can include that. But I like the idea of narratives too, and building in a thread that connects them not just to the work but to each other, and saying, here's a community of devs working together to solve a problem, figure it out together, because that's what you would do on a real dev job too.
Yeah, I agree. I think narratives are important. I do think that they could work, the gamification and narrative perspective could work hand in hand. Um, because when I think of gamification, I think of it kind of as a more abstract thing, as you're doing something to reach a goal to be rewarded for that goal. And if that goal is a part of your journey to get to the end, let's say the end is to become a web guru or a web master or something along those terms, whatever. But if that's the end goal, then you need these pieces in place here. And if these pieces can be identified as a reward, a badge, or just something that'll keep people engaged, and something that especially you can look at the community and say, this percent of people have reached this point. I think we can combine it too. I think we keep that. I think the idea of a narrative, I think that's important. A lot of people want to do this with the end goal in mind. As long as we tap into that, then make sure we reiterate that end goal, we can still use the kind of gamification to push them along. If that makes sense.
Okay.
I do want more to talk more about narrative, Dee, and I think I'll take that offline with you, because I think that's something I didn't think of. So I'd like to see where you're going with that.
Sure.
Cool. Seems like we got a good conversation going here. We got a good idea, great idea. So yeah, we'll just continue talking about this over the next week, and get the ball rolling on that. Anything else anyone want to add before we sign off?
Well, what's the next steps? What do you need us to?
Okay, yeah. And what are the
Okay. Yes. Next steps. So
I'm
my internet.
kind of giving you lead on this, so go ahead.
Okay. Yes. No. I have this planned. So we need to launch. So the goal is to launch something, even if it's just a coming soon page by the end of September. And so this gives us time to figure out, like, things about narrative, things about the design, the gamification, what kind of story we're going to tell. Like, is it like how black do we want to be about it? Because we can have fists for each level. We can have like Afro pick combs. We can have like you can have a dashiki with a number of stripes on it, depending. Like we can go any direction with this. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. But the core of it is the actual lessons. So I want us to have and I did this last week. Like I just sketched out lessons based on materials that I have and that I've seen that people are using, that Code Academy has, and all these different places are using as their baseline for you have to know HTML, you have to know CSS, and have all that stuff. So we need to come up with an outline for each level and just identify the core objectives, like what do we want people to know and how do we want to be able to say that somebody is proficient or is a level 2 HTML, whatever we already call them, Grio, whatever. So we want to be able to just identify the core content, and then we can extrapolate the narrative out of that. So this week 0 is what this is. We're going to talk about content, and so by the time we come back next week, we should have a really good idea of what it is that what the content is, where we're going to pull in these links from, and we can't count on those links to stay up, so we need to be able to have kind of, backups of it and stuff like that, or a way to keep track of it, and then the following week we can get deeper and deeper into the narrative and the game design and all of that stuff. I don't want us to overthink it because that is my weakness, so I don't want us to overthink it. I want us to execute as quickly as possible, and first things first, getting that content solid, and then thinking of what kind of world do we put this whole DAT code resource into, and what values are we using it to talk about it, because code is not neutral, and so we should exploit that to our benefit. So next steps, content, TLDR. That'll be this week. I'll create a channel in Slack where you can just dump the ideas for this. We probably should come up with a code name for it. We'll figure that out too. So, and yeah, that'll be it.
Awesome. Sounds good. I'm excited.
Yay.
Anyone else got anything to add? Nope. All right, cool. Thank you guys for coming on today. Thanks to those who are watching now or later. Doesn't matter. We're so glad that you have taken the time out to check us out on our weekly community stand-up. This is week 4, and we'll be back next week at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. All right.
See ya.
And going off the stop.